My name is Adama Kabori. I was born and raised in the red dust of Kaya, a place where the Hamatan winds would slap your face in the morning, and the stories of our ancestors warmed your spirit at night. And that is where I met him, Ibrahim Traoré, the boy who would become a captain, a leader, and eventually the president of Burkina Faso. I remember we were both just boys then, barefoot and full of ambition. Ibrahim wasn't loud. He wasn't the kind to shout or fight in the streets like the other boys. But there was something about him. Even at 10, you could tell his mind worked differently. Where others played, observed. Where we threw stones for fun, he studied the wind, the force, the direction. He came from a modest family. His father taught school part-time. His mother sold tomatoes and yams in the market. They were not rich, but rich in principles. His mother used to tell us, never eat with two hands while your neighbor is starving. And I think Ibrahim never forgot that. In school, he was quiet, brilliant, and stubbornly honest. When teachers gave him praise, he bowed his head. When they were unfair, he spoke up. We all knew he'd go far, but none of us imagined just how far. He left Kaya to study in Bobo Dioulasso, and later he was accepted into the University of Ouagadougou. There, something in him changed. He saw students beaten for protesting. He watched corrupt men drive past beggars in tinted cars. He began to speak at student unions. His voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp, calm, and full of reason. Then he joined the army. When I saw him next, it was after many years he had become Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Tall, lean, with eyes that saw beyond you. We hugged like brothers, but I could tell he had been through things. He had seen a war, not just the war in the north with the terrorists, but the war within the country, the corruption, the betrayal of people's hopes, the selling of gold and land to outsiders while our mothers still fetched water from broken wells. By 2022, Burkina Faso was a nation on fire. Terrorist groups had taken over villages. Children no longer went to school. Farmers were afraid to go to their own fields. The people cried out for help, but the leaders stayed silent. The president at the time, Paul-Henri Damiba, had promised change but delivered more of the same. Then came September 30th, 2022. That morning, I was listening to the radio in Kaya. The signal was weak, but the message was strong. It was Traoré, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. He had led a coup. At just 34 years old, he became the youngest head of state in the world. I met him secretly weeks after in a safe house in Ouagadougou. He wasn't celebrating. He wasn't dancing. He sat at a wooden table, reading files, maps, reports. He said to me, Adama, I didn't want to take power. I had to. Our people are dying. If we wait for politics to fix this, we will have no country left. He wasn't driven by greed. He didn't move into a palace. He didn't change cars. Instead, he traveled to the villages. He met with the volunteer fighters, VDPs, the young men defending their homes with outdated rifles. He armed them, trained them, stood beside them. He opened mines that had been under foreign control and said, this gold belongs to the people of Burkina Faso. It angered the West. But to the ordinary man, he became a symbol of resistance. But power comes with a price. There were threats from the inside, men in suits who lost their shady deals. Threats from the outside, powerful nations who saw their grip loosening. Even ECOWAS and France frowned at him. There were whispers of plots. Some tried to turn people against him, but still, he stood firm. One day I asked him, Ibrahim, are you not afraid? He smiled, that same Kaya boy smile. Adama, I am not here to live long. I am here to serve. If my death brings Burkina Faso to life, then let it come. I could not sleep for nights after that. Under his leadership, things slowly began to shift. He cut ties with France, told them to remove troops who were doing nothing. He forged alliances with Russia and Mali. He spoke of Pan-African unity, of African nations rising together without begging bowls. The youth adored him. You could see his face painted on walls, worn on t-shirts, sung in street songs. But he never claimed to be a savior. He said, we must all become soldiers in this fight, for dignity, for sovereignty, for Africa. Now, as I sit under the same mango tree where we used to play as boys, I wonder what tomorrow holds. Will he last? Will they break him? Or will history remember him not as a rebel, but as a reformer, a fighter, maybe even a visionary? I do not know. But I do know this. Ibrahim Traoré is not just a man. He's a moment in African history, a reminder that even in the darkest times, courage can still rise from the dust. And in the red soil of Kaya, we still say, that quiet boy, he dared to speak when others were silent. He dared to lead